I will take the throne. I will never bow. You were given glory, not dominion, and for this you will fall.
Before you were ever born, there was a war in heaven. Not a metaphor, not a symbolic story, but a real rebellion that began in a place where nothing had ever gone wrong. Heaven was not built for conflict. It was ordered, complete, and perfectly aligned, where every angel existed with clear purpose under the authority of God. There was no tension, no division, no uncertainty. Everything functioned exactly as it was meant to. But within that perfection stood one being who would change everything. Not through weakness, not through force, but through a decision that would fracture eternity itself. His name was Lucifer, and what began in him would soon spread across heaven and ignite a war unlike anything ever seen. Lucifer was not what people imagine when they think of evil. He was not dark or broken. He was created with beauty, power, and influence, standing close to the presence of God and surrounded by angels who recognized his authority. He carried responsibility, status, and a level of trust that few others had. There was no flaw forcing what came next, no corruption pushing him toward rebellion, which is exactly what makes his fall so significant, because it did not come from weakness. It came from choice, a shift that began within him and slowly reshaped how he saw himself. And once that shift began, it did not stay contained. It started to grow. It started with a thought, not an action, not a war, but a single idea that began to take shape, a comparison that slowly turned into a question and then into a desire that refused to disappear. Why not more? Why not rise higher? Why not take a position that was never meant to be his? Lucifer stopped looking at God as the center and began looking at himself. And in that shift, everything changed. Because rebellion does not begin with destruction. It begins with justification, the belief that the boundary in front of you should not exist at all. And once that belief takes hold, it does not stay silent. It spreads. Lucifer did not keep that belief to himself. He spoke, he influenced. He persuaded other angels, beings who had once stood in perfect unity, to begin questioning the order they had always known. What started as one voice became many. Loyalty began to fracture, alignment began to break, and slowly, without chaos at first, sides began to form. Angels who once stood together were now divided, choosing between the authority of God and the rebellion that Lucifer was leading. And once that division existed, the outcome was no longer avoidable. Something changed in him completely. Lucifer was no longer just a fallen leader. He became something else entirely. Satan, the adversary, defined by opposition and driven by the belief that he could take what was never his. He was no longer standing in alignment. He was standing against it. And everything about him reflected that shift, from his purpose to his identity. But rebellion, no matter how powerful, has a limit. That limit came quickly. The balance shifted, and the direction of the war changed in a decisive moment. Satan and those who followed him were overpowered, not gradually, but completely. There was no recovery, no second chance, no return to what had been. He was cast down, removed from heaven and separated from everything he once had. The position, the influence, the identity, all of it gone in a single moment. The fall was final. There was no throne left to claim, no kingdom to rule, and no path back to where he once stood. Only a fall that carried him into another world, a place far from the one he had tried to take, this world. And that war did not end when he fell. It changed location. What began in heaven continued here, shaping everything that followed. Which means you are not just hearing about that war. You are living in the middle of it. If you believe in the power of our God, drop an amen.